once in a
No
while.
kidding.
I was a distance away, but I
Could have been somebody else walking with my
might
wife.
have.
Boy, I don't,
Let your wife listen,
what kind of dog was it? Never mind, I don't have a dog.
Caught her again.
Daggone it. Boy.
Now I'm locked. I'm locked out.
You're locked out.
I'll look at it on my phone.
I was gonna say, I can't help you.
Is there a place where you can say, I forgot?
Whitney, nobody can help me. I'm beyond help. Here, I've got my phone.
That's crazy.
He'll have to squint, but he can.
But I use the same login and it's just not going in.
You want to use my login? I
I'm
mean,
locked out, baby. I'm good.
Said too many times.
okay.
There's your sign.
Nope, I got it. I'll squint. Here.
I know you have a good eye down there.
Should be able to see.
Anytime you're
It's
ready.
locked out. You
Are we ready?
suck.
Yep.
All right, let's call to order this meeting of the Warsaw Redevelopment Commission. We will start off with the Pledge of Allegiance, and then in honor of Rick Snodgrass, this is kind of a spur of the moment, but I think we should, after we're done with the pledge, just take a minute of silence and think about Rick. He gave a lot of effort to this commission, and was vice president for a long time, and a friend with a lot of us. So, but we'll say the pledge first. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you all. That was good. Okay. Next, we have the approval of the minutes from last meeting. I think everybody was here. Or Mike was out. But,
I was absent.
so, I will, assume you've had a chance to look those over.
Unless anyone has an objection, I move that we accept the minutes as presented.
Okay, Jack's made a motion to accept the minutes as presented,
Second.
and Bill has seconded them. All in favor of approving the minutes from the last meetings, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All right. All right, Jeremy, we have a change order.
Yeah, so the first item is change order number 1 for County Road 300 North. This is a deduction of $54,795, and it is switching from limestone to gravel. I think there was typically when they did, it was a Fort Wayne firm that did this, and limestone is readily available in Fort Wayne, whereas most of our projects have gravel. We don't use limestone, so it kind of got caught a little late. But swapping that out is a deduction in the contract. This is a 50-50 match program through the state, so we will pay 50% of the total contract, and it'll come out of the Northern TIF. So we've saved ourselves at least $27,000 in this deduction.
Which is always good.
It's good if it doesn't make any difference.
No.
Apparently it doesn't.
No, actually, I don't know that in Huntington, most of the projects in Fort Wayne are limestone because that's what they have readily available. But since I've been here for 20 years, I don't know that we've done any limestone road project that's all gravel. Because you have to haul it in, so the haul cost is expensive.
Over the years, I've been part of many change orders. I don't think I've ever been privy to one that went down. So I will move that we accept this.
Yeah, that's always a good thing.
That's right. So Jack has made a motion to approve the change order,
Second.
and Bill has seconded that. Thank you. All in favor of approving the change order, number 1, Fendon Brown, signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? It's unanimous. Now, the MOU.
As discussed last month, I sought your permission to put together an MOU for the Marsh property, and that is what's before you at this point. This is just a memorandum of understanding, gives them the ability to do some due diligence over the next 60 days, at which point we would work towards entering into an actual purchase agreement and the disposition of the property. As discussed last week, or last month, it's $1 million purchase price, 5-year payment plan. As of right now, it would exclude or potentially exclude what would be the outlot that we're working on. But as we get closer to their due diligence, we'll bring a more comprehensive agreement to be approved. This just gives them more or less the right to do the due diligence without us disposing of it to somebody else for the next 60 days.
So it's for 60 days.
Yes, I believe so. Yeah, so purchase agreement within 60 days of the date of the MOU. So once we set this, they'll have 60 days to do their due diligence. They were in it a couple times last week. They're going to be in it today, tomorrow. So they're starting that work now.
So just for clarity, the purchase price in the MOU does not include the property that's being looked at for,
It's left a little ambiguous in here.
Okay.
So what has been...
it is?
It does and it doesn't.
Yeah.
So if we put that other project together, it would exclude it. If we don't, it would fold back into the
Got it.
property.
All right, thank you.
Yeah.
I'd make a motion to approve the MOU as presented.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a first and a second. Did you have any?
I was gone for the last meeting, and I've talked with Joe Talmer about this. I've talked with you, George, about this, and I've had several conversations with Jeremy about this. This would not be my first choice to do. I have really tried to hold out for, I mean, everyone I've talked to, everyone has told me they want a grocery store down there, and I've really tried to stay true to that. But we keep running into dead ends, and we've tried with the firm in Alabama. I told Jeremy even yet today I'd like to keep as many of our options open as we can in case something should change. But we can't sit on this building forever. I guess I just want that out there.
Point taken. As we get closer to the purchase agreement, or if they do their due diligence and want to move forward, we can have some more discussions on what all goes into that purchase agreement. Like I said, this is just a very rudimentary look at it because obviously we have to have more detail in terms of the financing since we're being the financier of the project. So there'll be certainly more detail that we'll have to have discussions about.
Yeah, Mike, and I don't know if I told you, but I asked a question about kind of a clawback if this property doesn't progress in the whatever term period the redevelopment commission deems advisable, that the city would have the opportunity to get the property back. Just something to think about as we look towards the redevelopment agreement. And I know Jeremy assured me that those are all things that we can look at. I, like you, there's no one that won a grocery store there more than I did, but we got to be practical about it and realistic about it, quite frankly.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we tried. We really, really tried. We had a one-year contract, retail strategies, and they kept running into dead ends. I was hoping maybe if we were able to carve out one outlot in that parking lot, perhaps we could carve out a couple more and lure some people in. There's two, I think there are two vacant lots on the south side of the building. I know it's
There's
one
at least
big lot,
one,
but there are
yeah.
two lots there, aren't
You
there?
could have, I mean, you could have any number. I mean, you could put
So there's
another,
a possibility for maybe a small grocery store or something.
Jeremy, will they, prior to obviously to the purchase agreement, will they provide us with their plan for what they want to do?
Like a vision?
Well, I mean, I would assume we're going to want to get an idea of what they want to put in, but I don't,
Yeah.
that's why I'm asking that question.
yeah, I think they'll have kind of a rough plan of what the inside will look like.
Do you anticipate they're going to use the entire building? I guess that's my
Yes,
question.
I do.
Okay.
Now, does that mean they may not lease other space out to people? They
Right.
might. I know that they're already in conversations with somebody on the two storefronts adjacent to it. So I think they're definitely thinking through this practically on how they'll make it work.
Jeremy, have they expressed to you, and they may not know exactly, but will they need all that parking?
I think there'll be times a year where there'll be more than, and times of the week too,
And I know you can't answer for them.
I don't think so. So I think
I can't
that,
see that they would, but
I think there'll be times a year and maybe times of the week where need more parking. But to your point and to Joe's point, is there the possibility for some other outlets? I think so. Are they a better entity to develop them than we are? Maybe. And we've had this conversation, it's like, do we carve out a bunch of outlots and then try to market them? Or do we drive people to them for them to finish developing the property? I would much rather be an incentivizer to them than try to play developer. So I'd much rather bring people to them and say, hey, I've got someone who wants to put a, blank out front. Would you talk to them and see what possibility and what that looks like? And then we can be the middleman, being the incentivizer, rather than trying to market and be a developer of property. I don't think that's something we do very well. I think it's better for us to bring in people that would be the developer role and us to just be the incentivizer. It takes the risk away from us, so we're not risking. We're not, I've said this a lot of times and to a lot of different people, but we are incentivizers. We're not risk takers. So when someone comes in and says, I want to do this or I want to do that, we can help incentivize that. But we're not taking on the risk. Municipalities shouldn't be taking on the risk of developing property. We should be helping others develop property. And so I see our role with them, if this goes through, helping them further develop the property rather than us trying to play developer. That's the role I would prefer us to take. But I also understand, it would be nice to have some other outlots out there. But I think
never wanted us to be a developer. I
No.
just wanted us to be able to say, hey, we have this land. If you want to develop it, we have
Yeah.
a place for you to put your new business.
And I think that they will look at it long-term as an investment and see what I think they're already doing that with the two sections
Outlots.
north of the two little outlots, I won't say outlots, but the two storefronts north of them. They're already doing that.
Okay.
And I think we can work with them to say, hey, if we have somebody on the south, I don't know what the soil is on the south, so it's really hard to say, how realistic it is to build
That's a big
south of
area.
that. It's a big area,
It's a big lot.
and it was obviously set up to potentially build another section, but if the soil's bad, you have challenges with that, and,
Okay. So once again, just to satisfy myself here, the MOU is a memorandum of understanding, and what is it we're exactly understanding?
so they have 60 days to do their due diligence. The basic purchase price is of $1 million with a 5-year financing, which we will, subject to the final terms and conditions contained. And this may or may not include the whole property depending on the outcome of the outlot. So those are kind of the 3 components that go into this MOU.
So it's just so that they can basically look at it and make sure that they're
Yeah.
not putting bad money into something. in
They,
their lives.
they're not investing money for me to come and say, oh, I sold that to
Yeah.
somebody else. So
they're
that's what
lock-
this,
They're locking it up for.
they're locking it up for that 60-day due
so they
diligence,
can
yeah.
look and come up with their plans and
Yeah.
everything. And that's all it's really doing.
That's all it's really doing.
Okay.
Okay. An explanation. Well, we do have.
Thank you, everybody,
And
I
indulging me.
I think it's important to have an understanding of what's going on here, and I appreciate we've got someone who's interested in developing it, and that's great. But we bought it several years ago because we felt there was a use that was coming that we didn't want down there. So controlling the use of the building was why we bought it. Now I think we're somewhat relinquishing that role. I think we have to come to grips with that. And that's all I'll say. And I think we've given it the time, as you suggest, we've made the effort to put a retail in there, grocery in particular, that was the whole reason we bought it, to give us some time to try and do that. And it didn't happen. We've got to move on now. And if someone wants to develop that building, I'd love to be able to say, well, if it doesn't work, we still want it back, but I'm not sure we want to do that. I think we're at a point where, we've given it our best shot. There's someone that's going to put in a reasonable use. I like the idea of maintaining control maybe of an outlot or 2, because, that sometimes outlots are like the anchor. So that'd be the only thing I would consider, is maybe looking at when they've said what they want to do with it
Yeah.
and can anticipate their parking. Maybe we've got a better idea of what the other individual wants to do on the corner. Do we maybe try and put together another outlot there? I mean, those are things, I don't think we can do that until we see what they want to do with the property.
Yeah. Yeah,
It's
because,
possible to do that, is what I,
Well, I mean, we'll discuss it then.
yeah,
That's-
the details are yet to be written.
Okay.
Now, I mean, that, if I'm in their shoes, that's probably going to potentially affect what I'm willing to pay for the property. So we'll have to cross that bridge if we're taking more and more and more away. And let them do their due diligence, find out if it's
all right,
feasible, and then we can come back and look at
Fair
the
enough.
more detailed.
fair enough. Thank you.
Okay, well, good discussion. We do have a first and a second, and then we have further discussion, but, so I will call for a vote on the memorandum of understanding. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those against? Okay, it's unanimous.
Thank you.
But I want to hear that.
Next up is a consulting contract for Anchorage Road. This is the construction inspection phase of the project. The contract is for a total of $617,660.10, and it will be 80-20 match. So we'll submit this contract to NDOT for approval once we have approved it and signed it and sent it to the to Structure Point, who is the consultant, to sign. We'll send it to NDOT for approval. And hopefully in October, this Anchorage Road project will get let, and I don't know that it'll start construction this year, but definitely next year will be a full construction season of Anchorage Road. And this will be paid out of Northern TIF Professional Services.
Boy, it really threw people for a loop when they closed it earlier this
Yeah.
spring, just for a couple days. I can't imagine.
Well, it's going to be broken up into phases. So there'll be, it's trying to be organized so that we'll try to mitigate as much as possible. But like all of our projects, there are two pluses to doing what we do. One is safety. When you close a road, you decrease drastically the safety of the workers that are out there. And then two, you increase or you decrease the amount of time it takes to build it. If they can shut it down and build it, it will get done quicker than constantly blocking lanes. And so we'll try to mitigate as much as possible the challenges throughout the construction, but there'll be construction phasing that we'll get into once the project's bid and so forth, and the public will be aware of all those challenges. But it does increase, it increases the safety and it decreases the construction time
Yeah.
drastically. When you try to do lanes and you're basically building, you got to build another road and then tear out the old road and then put the new road in and then tear out the road you just built. I mean, it just increased costs and it increased construction time. So we've been fairly successful in the way we've built roads, whether it be Husky Trail and so forth, minimizing the construction time when we plan it properly. And costs, minimize some of the costs as well.
Jeremy, as part of that project, do you foresee them doing anything to help that entrance to Meyer?
There'll be some improvements. There'll definitely be some improvements to that area in general. Obviously, we're going to 3 lanes, sidewalks. So it'll be walkability, center turn lane, not necessarily a suicide turn lane. There'll be designated left turn lanes as you go through the site. So it'll be a vast improvement than what's there. All the utility poles have been moved if you haven't been through there. So road widening, reconstruction, the road's not in great shape. So in the end, the product will be worth it, but it'll take some patience to get there.
That's a great question. I just assumed it would make for a better entrance there.
You would
Never
hope.
assume.
You would hope, but, yeah, never assume.
Well, we'll entertain a motion for the contract for
Make a
construction.
motion to approve the contract for construction inspections.
All right, Bill's made a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Okay, Mike has made a second, so first and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those against say nay. Okay, it is passed. Now an engagement letter, right?
Yeah, so this is just an engagement letter from Baker Tilly for the Owens bond issuance. As we move towards issuing that bond, this is just for a contract, more or less, and it's hourly rate for them to do the work towards that bond issuance.
Motion to approve.
Okay, Joe's made a motion to approve the engagement letter.
Second.
And a second, Jack. And it. So we have first and a second, all, everybody who wants to approve, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those against? Okay, it's passed. Annual compliance.
Yeah, so these are just the compliance forms. It doesn't really need an approval. I just wanted you guys to see them. They're just the compliance forms for our bond issues that is required per the Huntington National Bank as the trustee. So we'll just sign these and send them to them. So it's just for your, I guess it probably could have put in other business, but it's just for your notification. Don't need a approval on it.
Thank you.
It's good to know, thank you. Next.
Union Stations Loft, this is the Ori subrecipient agreement with OrthoWorks. Will be the subrecipient as it relates to the Union Station lofts. And the subrecipient agreement is the 1.4 million from Ori to go towards Union Station lofts. There's a payment schedule in here. So some of the importance would be that payment schedule of that 1.4 million, so it'd be paid out as claims are submitted periodically on a monthly basis with a full release of the remaining funds once the project is through final walkthrough. We will not receive the money, so they will submit claims to us. We would approve the claims and then submit them to OrthoWorks to pay out those claims directly to them. So we're not, but we are a subrecipient in terms of we'll be responsible for managing that project to its completion. And part of that is overseeing this 1.4 million that will come from Ori to complete that project.
When you say oversee the project, what does that entail, Jeremy?
As pay applications would come in, we would review and make sure that the work's been completed, and then submit to them to say, yes, this work's been done. And
Someone from planning department upstairs would go out and make sure?
But yes, yeah, it'd be us, but yeah, or me.
Okay.
Me and probably Aaron and maybe
Okay.
Justin, depending on who's available. But yeah, we would just make sure that if they say, the project's at 50%, we'd go out and review to make sure it's at 50%. Any materials received, whatever they're billing for, we would make sure it's been documented that it received it and work's been completed.
Okay.
And we're doing that already with our bond issue. Keep in mind, we issued a bond for this, so we're already doing that with the bond issue. So that will just continue as they progress with the construction.
And they have in there construction completion less than 14 months away.
Yeah.
Yeah, wow. It's impressive.
Been a long time coming.
It has been a very long time coming.
Wow.
Yeah, the landscape out there is changing.
Yeah, that tower for the elevators
Yeah,
looks impressive.
yeah.
That's a good shot.
Need a motion on this?
We need,
I do.
I would make a motion that we
Mike has made a motion,
accept this retention agreement.
I'll second.
and Joe has seconded it. So we have a first and a second. All in favor of approving the Union Station loss agreement signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those against signify by saying nay. And there are none, so it passed. Jeremy, you have some claims there?
We have a few claims. The first one's Indian American Water for the Marsh property, $399.46. A&Z Engineering, $15,302.50 for the ongoing engineering for County Road 200 North and Husky Trail Roundabout. A&Z Engineering, $409.72 for County Road 300 North and 200 West. Public notice, Times Union, $62.81 for the Kraus annexation. Office supplies, $166 or $100.66. Recording of the Kraus annexation, $25. Kosciuszko County Treasurer, property taxes for the Buffalo Street property, $589.07. UPS was for shipping the bond documents back, 5476, shipping them back to Randy Rampala with Barnes and Thornburg. KDI, the $300 Peak Med office space rental monthly payment, and West Hill Development, $42,000 lease payment for the Shell building.
I noticed no NIPSCO bills to complain about.
No, not this month. Maybe maybe on the 19th.
You're just all the clerk's office or so they're coming.
You're all right with the claims, all the claims?
Yep.
Make a motion that we approve them.
Okay, Mike's made a motion to approve the claims as presented.
Second.
Jack has made it, seconded. So first and second, all in favor of approving the claims, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right.
We
Other
will,
business?
we will have, I don't have any other business other than we will have a meeting on the 19th, so let me know if there's any challenges for you guys to meet on the 19th. Some of the projects we have will require us to meet on the 19th, so we will be doing so.
Good. Set it, gonna be at regular time.
Yes, same time, just, sometimes we meet twice a month, sometimes we don't. This time we will need to meet
Okay.
on the 19th. We're preparing
We don't need
notices.
to meet later for, okay.
He's supposed to let us know if we need to, we can.
June, right? June, you'll have to meet.
Oh, I don't know.
Maybe.
You were putting that together.
Yeah, we'll look at June, but,
Let me look real quick.
But-
Sorry about that. I didn't mean to be indifferent. I just hadn't
No,
thought
that's
about
fine.
it in a while. So we got a June 2nd meeting. It would probably be yeah, I don't see an Earthworks board here on either one of those, so,
okay, should be okay. All right.
yeah.
I'll check with them.
Okay.
Yeah, just
Yeah,
keep,
let me know. Thank you.
all right, so you already had that on there.
Yep. So if anything comes up or if you have any challenges on the 19th, let me know, but we will be doing an advertisement, so we will have a meeting on the 19th.
So we will have a meeting
Yep.
2 weeks from today.
And I think that is to do with the street department bond issue.
Any other business to come before the board?
Not at this time.
All right,
Motion to adjourn.
we have a motion to adjourn. Do I hear a
Second.
You have a second. This meeting is adjourned.
Thank you.
See how kids pull,
Thank you very much.
taking seats.
Thank you, Mayor, for showing up.